The alien scan begins. The stars glittered like tiny diamonds in the vast, endless void of space. The alien fleet hovered in the cold silence, watching a massive human warship floating in front of them. It was unlike any ship they had encountered before. Its size alone was enough to send a ripple of unease through their ranks. The humans had only recently made contact with the galaxy, and now they were about to face the full attention of the most powerful species in the galaxy, the Sailor. The Sailor had scanned countless ships in their time. They had studied the technology of many civilizations, advanced ones, primitive ones, and everything in between. But the human ship was different. They had heard rumors of the humans' strange and powerful technology, but nothing had prepared them for this moment. Now they would see for themselves what made the humans so unique, or perhaps dangerous. Commander Zorth, the leader of the Sailor fleet, watched from the command center of the lid ship. His four glowing eyes narrowed as he studied the human warship through the scanner. The human ship was enormous, its metal hull reflecting the light of distant stars. The Sailor had never seen anything like it. It didn't look like any military ship they had encountered before. Its design was bulky and industrial, yet strangely sleek. It was a curious mixture of practicality and power. "Initiate the scan," Zorth ordered, his voice calm but with a hint of anticipation. His species had never encountered a threat they couldn't handle. Still, there was something about the human ship that made his antennae twitch with discomfort. He felt a deep sense of unease. Something was off. The scanner's hum filled the room as it powered up. The massive beam shot out from the Sailor fleet, aimed directly at the human warship. It was a routine procedure. The aliens had used this technology thousands of times before, effortlessly scanning enemy ships in a matter of moments. But this time was different. As the scan began, the aliens watched in silence, their many eyes focused on the results. At first, there was nothing unusual. The ship's external sensors showed nothing out of the ordinary, just standard human technology. But as the scan deepened, something strange began to happen. The readings from the human ship started to shift, becoming increasingly erratic. The scanners were struggling to make sense of the data, pulling in contradictory readings. Zorth's eyes widened slightly, and he quickly motioned for his second-in-command, Talia, to check the results. "Talia, what is happening? This isn't normal." Talia quickly adjusted the controls, double-checking the data. The numbers on the screen shifted wildly, but it was the patterns that were concerning. The human warship was radiating energy that didn't match anything in the Sailor's database. It was as if the ship was powered by something entirely new, something unknown. "Commander, the energy readings, they don't make sense. They're fluctuating in ways we've never seen before," Talia reported, her voice filled with confusion. Zorth's antennae twitched again, a sign of deep concentration. "How can this be? We've encountered millions of species and their technologies. Nothing has ever been this unpredictable." The commander felt a rising sense of curiosity, but it was laced with fear. The humans had only been a known species for a short time, but they had already proven to be incredibly resourceful. They had survived against threats that would have wiped out other civilizations, and now they had a ship that seemed to defy all the known laws of technology. Zorth stared at the screen, his mind racing. "Run a more detailed scan. I want to know everything about that ship, inside and out. If there's anything hidden on board, we will find it." Talia quickly worked the controls, pushing the scan deeper into the human warship. The results came in slowly at first, but then they began to pile up. Hidden compartments, advanced weapon systems, a level of defense technology far beyond anything that Sailor had ever seen. The ship was packed with surprises. Some of them were familiar, but many were completely alien to their scanners. As the scan continued, Zorth's unease grew. There was something about this ship that made his instincts scream that it was more than just another military vessel. The energy signatures, the strange readings, Everything pointed to a level of technological mastery that he had never encountered before. "Prepare for the next phase of the scan," Zorth ordered. "We need to dig deeper." Talia hesitated for a moment before nodding. "Understood, Commander." The next scan went further into the ship's interior, breaking through the layers of its defenses. This time, the results were even more surprising. The human warship seemed to be hiding something. As the data came in, it became clear. This ship wasn't just another weapon of war. There was a level of sophistication here that was baffling. "Commander, you need to see this," Talia said, her voice shaking slightly. "This isn't just technology. This is something ancient." Zorth moved closer to the scanner, his 4 eyes focusing on the data. He felt a chill run through him. There, hidden deep within the warship, was something old. Very old. The technology was advanced, but it was also ancient in origin, something far beyond the reach of even the most advanced civilizations in the galaxy. It was almost as if the humans had uncovered a long-lost power, and they were using it to fuel their warship. "What have the humans uncovered?" Zorth muttered under his breath. The realization began to settle in. The humans weren't just an unknown force. They were a force to be reckoned with. The scan was only the beginning. As the aliens prepared for the next steps, one thing was clear. The humans had something far more powerful than they had expected. And now, the Sealer would have to decide how to deal with this new, unknown enemy. The true nature of the human warship was only just beginning to unfold, and the more the Sealer discovered, the more they realized that they were dealing with something far beyond their understanding. Unexpected discoveries. The atmosphere in the command center of the Sealer fleet was thick with tension. The scan was far from over, but what they had uncovered so far had completely shaken their initial assumptions. Commander Zorth paced back and forth, his 4 eyes scanning the data as it continued to pour in. His antennae twitched with anxiety. He had never experienced anything like this before. The human warship was more than just a military vessel. It was a puzzle that refused to be solved. As the scan delved deeper into the ship, more secrets were uncovered. The human ship wasn't just powered by advanced technology. It was alive with energy that defied all known laws of physics. It pulsed and resonated with an unseen force. It was unlike any weapon, any ship the Sealer had encountered. There were layers upon layers of defense mechanisms that no one had ever seen before, each more intricate and dangerous than the last. Zorth's second-in-command, Talia, worked furiously at the controls. Her eyes darted from one screen to another, trying to make sense of the ever-shifting data. The energy fluctuations were becoming erratic, and the deeper they scanned, the more they uncovered. "Commander, this ship, it's like it was designed to protect itself from everything, even us," Talia said, her voice filled with awe. "We've never encountered anything this complex. There are defensive systems here that we don't even have a name for." Zorth stopped pacing and stared at the screen. He had always been calm under pressure, but now, even he was beginning to feel the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. The humans had already proven to be a challenge for the Sealer. The rumors had been true. Their technology was powerful. But now it seemed that the human warship was not just powerful, it was indestructible. "Tell me, Talia," Zorth said, his voice low and steady. "What exactly are we looking at here?" Talia hesitated for a moment, unsure how to answer. She had never seen anything like it. I don't know, Commander. But it seems like the ship's core isn't powered by any conventional energy source. It's like it's harnessing something beyond our comprehension." Zorth's antennae twitched again, this time in a mixture of curiosity and unease. He could sense that the situation was spiraling out of control. The scan had gone far deeper than he had intended. And now, the ship's defenses were becoming more aggressive. The Sealer fleet scanners had been detecting strange bursts of energy, powerful enough to disrupt their equipment. Something inside the human warship was fighting back against the intrusion. "I think we've pushed the ship's systems too far," Talia warned, her fingers flying across the control panel in an attempt to regain control of the scan. But it was too late. A powerful surge of energy suddenly flooded the XLR scanners. The shockwaves sent ripples across the fleet, temporarily disabling their communication systems. The lights in the command center flickered, and a wave of panic washed over the officers. The human warship had responded, more forcefully than they could have imagined. "Initiate an emergency retreat," Zorth barked, his voice sharp. But it was clear that XLR were not fast enough. The human ship was no longer just a passive target. It was now actively defending itself. The scanner was still functional, but only just. The last data to come through was shocking. The core of the ship, the heart of the human warship, was not made of metal like the rest of the ship. It was something else, something organic. It was as though the human ship had fused technology with living matter, creating a hybrid that could adapt and evolve. "Commander," Talia shouted, her voice urgent, "I'm seeing something else. A weapon, but this one is unlike anything in our database. It's massive, hidden deep within the ship. It's as though the weapon is alive." Zorth froze, the implications of her words settling into his mind. The human ship was not just a ship. It was a weapon, and it seemed to be alive. The energy readings indicated that the ship could adapt to any attack, no matter how powerful. And this weapon, hidden deep within the warship, was waiting for the right moment to strike. "I want all data on that weapon," Zorth ordered, his voice steely. "Prepare the fleet. We're going in." As the sailor fleet readied themselves for what they expected to be a confrontation, they couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. What had they uncovered? What had they unleashed? And what did it mean for the future of their empire? The humans had been underestimated, their technology thought to be primitive, easily manageable. But now it was clear. The humans were no longer the underdogs. They had something far more dangerous than anyone had imagined, and it was up to the XLR to figure out how to survive this new threat before it was too late. The hidden power of human technology. The tension within the XLR fleet grew with every passing moment. Commander Zorth could feel the pressure mounting in the command center. His thoughts raced. The situation had escalated from a routine scan to something much more dangerous. What was hidden deep within the human warship? And why did it feel as if the ship was aware of their every move? "Commander, we got more readings coming in," Talia said, her voice tight with urgency. "The energy levels. They're rising fast." Zorth's gaze locked on the screen. The energy readings had skyrocketed. The ship's core, which had previously seemed to pulse with strange, unidentifiable energy, now emitted a level of power that rivaled anything in the XLR arsenal. But it wasn't just the power that was concerning. It was how the energy seemed to shift and adapt, almost like it was responding to the XLR's presence. "We need to know more about the weapon," Zorth said, his voice unwavering. "Talia, get me a detailed scan of the ship's core. Focus on that weapon. It's the key." Talia's fingers flew over the controls, pushing the scan deeper into the human ship. The energy bursts were getting stronger, and every time they tried to probe further, the ship fought back with increasing intensity. The strange weapon, which had been hidden within the ship's core, now seemed to pulse with life. Zorth watched the screens carefully as the scan progressed. Slowly, the data began to form into something coherent, and as it did, the picture became clearer and far more terrifying. The weapon wasn't just a powerful energy source. It was a massive cannon, designed to obliterate entire fleets with a single shot. But what made it truly frightening was its design. The weapon appeared to be organic, fused with the very structure of the ship. It was as if the warship and the weapon had become one. "This can't be happening," Zorth muttered to himself, unable to believe what he was seeing. The humans, they've somehow managed to weaponize living technology. Their ship isn't just a ship, it's a biological organism. The scan showed more details, confirming his suspicions. The human warship's core was not just an engine. It was a complex, living structure, pulsing with energy like a beating heart. The weapon itself seemed to draw its power directly from this core, using the ship's own biological systems to amplify the destructive force. The weapon was alive, adapting to the threat, ready to strike at any moment. Talia turned to face the commander, her eyes wide with disbelief. "Commander, if this weapon activates, it could destroy our entire fleet in one blast. We wouldn't be able to stop it. We'd be wiped out." Zorth's mind raced. The sailor had fought battles across the galaxy. They had encountered powerful species with advanced technology, but they had never faced anything like this, a weapon that could destroy fleets, powered by living technology. It was beyond anything the sailor had ever seen. "Prepare the fleet for battle," Zorth said firmly. "We can't afford to waste any more time. We need to strike before the humans realize we're here." But even as he gave the orders, a sinking feeling settled in his gut. The warship wasn't just a physical threat. It was a mental one as well. The sailor had always prided themselves on their superior technology, their ability to adapt and overcome any challenge. But now, they were facing an enemy that didn't think like they did. An enemy that had fused biology and technology in a way that no one had ever imagined. The more Zorth learned about the human ship, the more he realized that this wasn't just another battle. This was something far bigger, something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. Talia quickly began preparing the fleet for an assault, but there was hesitation in her movements. The enemy was unlike any they had faced before. There were no clear weaknesses to exploit, no vulnerabilities to exploit. The human warship was designed to adapt, to counter any attack, to survive no matter what. It was a living fortress. "Commander, we've received a transmission," Talia said suddenly, her voice cold. Zorth turned to face her. "What is it?" Talia tapped a few buttons on the console, and a communication feed blinked to life. The image that appeared on the screen was clear, too clear for comfort. It was a human, standing calmly in front of a massive viewport. The human appeared unconcerned, as if they were already prepared for the inevitable. "Commander Zorth," the human said, their voice cold but strangely calm. "We know you're out there, and we know you've been scanning our ship. You won't find what you're looking for, because you're not prepared for what's coming next." Zorth felt a jolt of surprise. How had they known? Was this part of the human ship's intelligence systems at work? Or had the humans anticipated the sailor's every move? The human continued, "If you think you can destroy us, you're wrong. Our ship is alive, and it is ready to defend us." Zorth's heart sank. The implications of those words were clear. The human warship wasn't just a weapon. It was a force of nature, and it had the power to destroy anything in its path. "Commander," Talia said quietly, "what do we do now?" Zorth stared at the screen, his mind racing. The battle wasn't just about power anymore. It was about survival. And the more he thought about it, the more he realized. The sailor might have underestimated the humans, but it was already too late to turn back. The human warship was ready, and the sailor were now trapped in a game where the rules had changed forever. A dark secret uncovered. The tension in the sailor fleet was palpable. The transmission from the human warship echoed in Zorth's mind, making his antennae twitch nervously. The warship wasn't just a weapon. It was something far more advanced, far more dangerous than he could have ever imagined. The humans had always been unpredictable, but this revelation was beyond anything the sailor had prepared for. "We have to act quickly," Zorth said, his voice low but firm. He couldn't afford to hesitate any longer. The human warship had made its intentions clear. If they didn't strike first, the consequences would be dire. Talia, standing by the console, nodded in agreement. "I've been analyzing the data, Commander. The human warship is evolving. It's adapting to our every move. I don't think we can outmatch it with sheer firepower alone. We need to understand its core, its power source, if we want to have a chance." Zorth's eyes narrowed as he considered her words. They had already uncovered a great deal about the human warship's advanced technology, But there was still so much they didn't understand. The ship seemed to be more than just a machine. It seemed to have a mind of its own, an intelligence that was constantly adapting, learning, and countering their every move. "We need to get deeper into the warship," Zorth said, his voice tinged with urgency. "We need to find out what's really inside." Talia hesitated for a moment before speaking again. "Commander, there's something else. I've been looking at the older scans, the ones we gathered before the humans shut us out. There's something hidden inside the ship, something ancient." Zorth's antennae twitched, the hairs on his back standing on end. "Ancient? What do you mean?" Talia quickly pulled up a new set of scans, displaying a cross-section of the human warship's interior. At first glance, it looked like any other battle cruiser. But as Zorth studied the image more closely, something caught his attention. There, deep within the ship's core, was a structure unlike anything they had ever seen. "This," Talia said, pointing to a complex array of interlocking machinery buried deep within the warship's structure, "appears to be something far older than anything we've encountered. It looks like a relic from a long-lost civilization, but the energy it's giving off, it doesn't match any known technology." Zorth's heart began to race. Could this be the key? The human warship wasn't just a product of their technology. It seemed to be built upon something far older, far more powerful. "Show me more," Zorth commanded. Talia manipulated the console, zooming in on the strange, organic-looking structure embedded deep within the ship's core. The scans revealed something even more unsettling. The machinery was not entirely mechanical. There were biological components, veins of living tissue running through the ship's design. It was as if the ship had been fused with an ancient organic energy source that gave it power beyond the comprehension of the Xalar. "It's not just a weapon," Zorth said, his voice filled with a mixture of awe and fear. "This ship is alive, and whatever it's powered by, it's ancient. This wasn't built by the humans. They must have discovered it. But how? And why are they using it now?" Talia looked up from the console, her face pale. "This could be the key to everything, Commander. If the humans have unlocked this power, they may have the ability to reshape the galaxy itself." Zorth's mind raced. The implications of this discovery were staggering. The human warship wasn't just a threat. It was a force that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. The ancient energy source that powered it could hold the answers to untold mysteries, and the humans had found it first. "Prepare a team," Zorth ordered. "We need to get closer to the warship. We need to learn everything we can about this ancient technology." Talia hesitated for a moment before nodding. "Understood, Commander. But we'll need to be careful. The humans are already aware of our presence, and if this ship's defenses are as powerful as we think, we may not be able to get close enough to gather any useful data." Zorth's eyes hardened. "We have no choice. If we don't learn what makes this ship so powerful, we'll never be able to stop it." As the fleet prepared to move closer to the human warship, Zorth felt a sense of unease settle in his chest. The ship they were facing wasn't just a technological marvel. It was a mystery that had been buried for centuries. Whatever the humans had discovered, it was clear that they were playing with a power far beyond their understanding. The more Zorth thought about it, the more he realized that the true threat wasn't just the warship, it was the ancient force behind it. And if the humans could control it, they might be unstoppable. "We need to act fast," Zorth muttered to himself. "The galaxy may never be the same again." The Xalar fleet began to move closer, the hum of their engines reverberating in the silence of space. As they approached the human warship, Zorth knew that the true nature of the threat was only beginning to reveal itself. The ancient power that had been hidden within the ship was far more than just a weapon. It was a force that had the potential to change everything. And if the humans controlled it, the galaxy might never be the same again. The crew's resolve. Back aboard the human warship, the crew remained calm, unaware of the Xalar fleet's growing presence in the shadows of space. Inside the warship, Commander Elena Drayton stood at the helm. staring out at the dark expanse. She knew something had changed. The ship had been humming with energy for days, almost as if it was alive. She could feel it. The subtle shifts in power, the pulsing vibrations beneath her feet. Everything seemed to be working in perfect harmony. But something else lingered, a feeling deep in her gut that the calm was temporary. That sealer were coming. "Commander," Lieutenant Solis said, approaching with a grave expression, "we've detected multiple energy surges on the perimeter. It's the Xelar. They're preparing to engage us." Alina's mind raced. The Xelar, their scanners had already scanned the ship, and now they were coming in full force. She had anticipated this moment, but the knowledge didn't make it any easier. The Xelar had underestimated humans before, and now they were making the mistake again. They were about to learn just how deadly the human race could be. "Alert the crew," Alina ordered firmly. "Prepare for immediate defense protocols. Initiate full lockdown. No one gets in or out without clearance." As the command rang through the ship, the hum of the warship's core seemed to respond in kind. The ship's energy field shimmered, as though it were reacting to its surroundings. This wasn't just technology. It was a living, breathing entity that had learned from every battle, every skirmish, and now it was preparing for the fight of its life. "We've engaged the warship's main weapon systems," Solis added, his voice steady but with an underlying edge of uncertainty. "However, there's still no sign of direct engagement from the Xelar fleet. They seem to be holding back, possibly scanning for weaknesses." Alina looked toward the central command screen. The massive Xelar ships loomed like shadows in the distance, massive and imposing. Despite the impressive power they possessed, Alina couldn't help but feel a sense of calm wash over her. She trusted in her crew, and more than anything, she trusted in the warship. It had been built for moments like this. "We won't wait for them to make the first move," Alina said, her voice resolute. "Activate the bioshields. Let's show them what we're capable of." The crew worked efficiently, moving quickly to implement the defensive measures. The ship's bioshields, a new addition to its capabilities, were designed to react to enemy threats. As the Xelar fleet grew closer, the ship's internal systems came alive. The organic technology began to work in tandem with the traditional military systems, enhancing the ship's capacity for offense and defense. Meanwhile, on the Xelar side, Commander Zorth stood at the center of his fleet, analyzing the data. The closer they got, the more the ship resisted. Every time they tried to get a clear read on the human warship, their scanners were overwhelmed by strange bursts of energy. Something was protecting it, something far beyond anything that Xelar had encountered before. "Talia, any progress?" Zorth asked, his voice tinged with frustration. They had expected the human ship to be powerful, but the way it had adapted, defending itself against their scans, was more than unnerving. "I'm still trying to get a clearer image, Commander," Talia replied, her voice tense. "The bioshields are blocking most of our efforts, and it's throwing off our energy readings. If we don't break through soon, we'll have to engage without full information." Zorth's mind raced. The human warship was becoming more than just a threat. It was a puzzle, a living, evolving enigma that seemed to predict their every move. He knew it was only a matter of time before they would have to make a choice, retreat, or face the wrath of a force they couldn't comprehend. Back on the human ship, Alina was receiving similar updates. The tension in the war room was growing as the Xelar fleet continued to close in. But Alina wasn't concerned. She trusted the technology, and she trusted the humans. This was their moment. The moment when humanity's ingenuity would shine. "Status update," Alina demanded. "Shields are at full power, Commander," one of her officers reported. "We've got bioshield reinforcement in place. The Xelar will need to get through multiple layers of defense before they can touch us." "And what about the main weapon?" Alina pressed, her eyes focused. "It's ready," Solis answered. "But, Commander, are you sure we should fire? It could escalate things." Alina turned to him, her expression unwavering. "I'm not giving them a chance to take the first shot. "We've come too far. We're not backing down now." She gave the order, and in an instant, the ship's main weapon activated. The hum of the core intensified, a surge of organic energy building within the ship. Alina could feel the ship vibrating beneath her feet. It wasn't just a machine. It was a living creature, an extension of herself and her crew. The Sealer fleet had underestimated humans before, but now they were about to see the full extent of humanity's resilience. Back on Zorth's command ship, the first sign of an impending attack came through loud and clear. A massive energy blast fired directly toward their fleet, cutting through space with a blinding intensity. The Sealer ships tried to react, but the blast was too fast, too powerful. The shockwave from the weapon rattled their ships, and for a moment, Zorth's heart skipped a beat. He had never seen anything like it before. "Talia, shields up," Zorth shouted, his voice filled with alarm. But it was too late. The energy blast from the human warship hit the Sealer fleet head-on, tearing through their defenses with ease. The Sealer ships, designed to withstand nearly any attack, were struggling against the raw power of the human weapon. The first few moments of battle confirmed what Zorth had feared. They were not prepared for this. The humans had something they could never have anticipated, a weapon that could obliterate fleets in an instant. On the human side, Alina stood, watching as the blast reverberated through space, knowing full well that the battle had only just begun. She had given the order to show them humanity's true strength. And now, the Sealer would learn that humanity would never bow to any empire. The moment of truth. The blast from the human warship's main weapon sent shockwaves through the Sealer fleet. For a moment, space itself seemed to ripple as the massive wave of energy tore through the heart of the Sealer formation. The sheer power of the attack left the alien fleet reeling, their shields buckling under the force. Even the Sealer's advanced defenses, built to withstand the most devastating assaults, seemed inadequate in the face of humanity's bioorganic weapon. Commander Zorth's ship shuddered as the blast hit, knocking several crew members off their feet. The damage wasn't catastrophic, but the alien fleet had never experienced anything like this before. The energy surge had torn through their external defenses, creating cracks in the very hull of their ships. The Sealer had always been confident in their superiority, but now they were facing a species that had just proven it was far more dangerous than they had realized. "Talia, damage report." Zorth barked, his voice a mixture of anger and disbelief. Talia worked quickly, her fingers flying across the console. "Shields are at 60%, Commander. We've lost 2 smaller ships in the outer formation. The human weapon. It's unlike anything in our database. The readings, they don't make sense. Their technology is alive." Zorth's antennae twitched with frustration. "I know, Talia. I've seen the scans. But we need more than scans. We need results. The humans are going to launch another strike if we don't act fast." Zorth's mind raced. He had known this battle would be difficult, but the reality of facing such an unpredictable enemy was quickly sinking in. Humanity's technology was not just a weapon. It was a force that bent the laws of physics itself. The human warship was alive, and it was fighting with an intelligence that Sealer had never encountered before. "Commander, they're powering up again," Talia warned. "It's the main weapon. It's recharging at an accelerated rate. We won't have time to prepare another defense." Zorth cursed under his breath. "Then we'll have to take the fight to them. Activate the fleet's offensive systems. We can't afford to wait." As the Sealer fleet regrouped, their ships began to prepare for an offensive. But Zorth knew they were running out of options. They had no idea what the humans' next move would be. What if the warship's weapon wasn't just a one-time attack? What if it had the power to wipe out entire fleets, one after another? Meanwhile, aboard the human warship, Alina stood at the heart of the command center, her eyes fixed on the view outside. The Sealer fleet had regrouped, and it was clear they were preparing for another attack. But Alina wasn't worried. The ship was ready. The weapon was charged, and the crew was poised for the next move. "Commander," Lieutenant Solis said, his voice steady but filled with anticipation. "They've started to charge their offensive systems again. They're coming at us full force." Elena nodded, her face calm. "Let them come. We'll make sure they know that humanity won't back down." With a single motion, she turned to the communications officer. "Send a message to the sailor fleet. Let them know that they've underestimated us, and it's too late to turn back." The communications officer quickly transmitted the message across the void. The words clear and direct. "This is humanity's ship. You are not prepared for what comes next. If you wish to continue this battle, we will show you the true power of our warship. But be warned, retreat is your only option." Elena didn't expect a reply. The sailor, after all, were known for their arrogance and pride. They would not retreat without a fight. And she knew that the true test was just beginning. Outside, the sailor fleet began to shift, their ships moving into position for another assault. The tension was almost unbearable. Elena stood firm, the weight of command settling heavily on her shoulders. It wasn't just her life on the line. It was the future of humanity. If they failed now, everything they had worked for, everything they had sacrificed, would be for nothing. "Fire at will," Elena ordered. In an instant, the human warship's weapon discharged once again, sending another burst of energy that tore through space toward the sailor fleet. The energy was far more concentrated this time, focused, precise, and powerful. The sailor had no time to react. Ships were struck with terrifying precision, their shields failing under the force of the blast. The energy tore through their hulls like paper, ripping apart their vessels with an intensity that left the sailor in complete shock. The blast from the human warship left a burning trail of destruction in its wake. The sailor ships began to retreat, their formation breaking apart as they scrambled to regroup. But the damage had already been done. The human warship had proven its power and its resolve. On Zorth's ship, the situation was grim. The damage from the human attack was significant. His fleet had taken heavy losses, and the remaining ships were now scattered. The sailor had never encountered an enemy like this, and Zorth knew they were at a crossroads. They had underestimated the humans, and now they were paying the price. "We need to pull back," Zorth said, his voice low. "We can't continue this fight, not with the power they've shown. Send the order to retreat. The humans, they've won this round." But as the sailor fleet began to fall back, Zorth couldn't shake the feeling that the battle was far from over. The humans had proven that they were not a species to be trifled with. But what else did they have in store? What other surprises were hidden in the heart of their warship? Elena watched the retreating sailor fleet with a sense of grim satisfaction. She had known this day would come, and now it had arrived. The sailor had learned a harsh lesson. Humanity would not be defeated. The moment of truth had come and gone, but the war was far from over. The humans had made their mark, and that sailor would never forget the day they faced the true power of human ingenuity. Elena turned back to her crew. "Prepare for the next phase," she said, her voice filled with determination. "We've won this battle, but there's still much to be done." The warship's hum intensified as the crew prepared for whatever came next. That sailor had retreated, for now. But Elena knew one thing for certain. Humanity was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. The final revelation. The sailor fleet had retreated, their ships battered and broken, their pride shattered. The human warship had proven itself far more than a match for the mighty empire. And yet, as the dust settled and the sounds of battle faded into the void, the true nature of the conflict was just beginning to unfold. Commander Zorth stood on the bridge of his command ship, his mind racing. The battle had been a disaster. The humans had done something unimaginable, something that had torn through his fleet with terrifying efficiency. But as he watched the last remnants of the sailor fleet regrouping, his thoughts drifted back to the strange energy source within the human warship. There was more to this story than a single victory. The humans had uncovered something far greater, something that could change the course of the galaxy itself. Talia, are we ready for analysis? Zorth asked, his voice steady but filled with an underlying tension. Talia, her face drawn with exhaustion, nodded grimly. I've been going over the data from the battle, Commander. There's something strange about that ship. It's not just the weapon, it's the core, the energy source, and what's buried deep inside. We haven't even begun to scratch the surface of what's really going on. Zorth's antennae twitched in frustration. He had suspected as much. What are you saying, Talia? Is there something more? Something we missed? Talia turned to face him, her expression haunted. I believe the humans weren't just relying on technology alone. Their warship, it's using an ancient power. But this power, it's not like anything we've seen. It's alive. And it's growing. Zorth felt a chill run down his spine. Alive. He repeated, his voice barely above a whisper. How is that possible? Talia turned back to the console, calling up a series of scans that had been collected during the battle. The images were both fascinating and terrifying. What they had initially assumed were complex technological systems were now showing signs of something else. Something ancient, organic, and deeply connected to the ship itself. The core of the warship isn't just an energy source, it's part of the ship's very being, Talia explained. The more we study it, the more we realize that it's not just powered by energy, it's powered by something else, a force beyond our understanding. Zorth's mind reeled as the implications of Talia's words sank in. Are you telling me the warship itself is alive? Talia hesitated for a moment before responding. I believe it is. The technology and the biology have fused together in a way we've never seen before. It's as if the ship is evolving, changing, and growing. And it's doing this at an alarming rate. Zorth turned away from her, looking out into the vast emptiness of space. The Xealar had always prided themselves on their superiority. They had conquered worlds, built empires, and defeated foes that were thought to be invincible. But now they were faced with something they couldn't comprehend, a species that had tapped into a power beyond the known laws of the universe. They've unlocked something ancient, something buried for centuries, Zorth muttered. But the question is, how did they find it? How did the humans stumble upon this power? Talia's voice was filled with both awe and fear. I don't know, Commander. But I do know one thing. The humans are just beginning to understand what they've found. And if they master it, if they learn to control this power, they could become unstoppable. Commander, Solis said, his voice laced with concern, we're picking up strange energy readings from within the ship. The core's power is fluctuating. Elena's eyes narrowed. What do you mean? It shouldn't be fluctuating. I don't know, Commander. It's as if the core is expanding. It's changing. The systems are becoming more erratic. Elena's mind raced. She had always known the warship was powerful, but now it seemed as though the power was taking on a life of its own. The technology that had once been a tool, an advanced weapon, was beginning to feel like a living, breathing entity. We need to study it, Elena said, her voice steady. Get a team ready. We have to understand what's happening before it gets out of control. As the crew scrambled to prepare, Elena's thoughts lingered on that sailor retreat. The victory had been hard-earned, but there was still so much to uncover. The warship's core, the power it harnessed, it was more than just a weapon. It was a key to something greater, something hidden for centuries. But the more she thought about it, the more she realized that humanity was only beginning to scratch the surface of what they had unleashed. The final revelation had come, not just in the form of a victory over the Xealar, but in the discovery of a force that could change the course of history. The humans had gained something far more valuable than mere power. They had gained access to an ancient, living energy that could reshape the galaxy itself. And as the warship hummed with life, Elena knew one thing for certain. The future of humanity had just begun. The galaxy had better take notice, because humanity was no longer the underdog. They had discovered a power that could no longer be ignored. and it would only grow stronger with time. The sealer had retreated, but the real battle was just beginning. And humanity, armed with the ancient power of the warship, was ready for whatever came next.